Rafaela.
And my name's Abigail.
Today we'll be your host and we're on Just Kids Health,
where we give healthy tips for growing kids.
I'm very excited to tell you a story about a woman who made children's life more better and more fun.
This is Jenny's story and her corporation helping Colombian children. Hi Jenny, welcome to Just Kids Help.
Jenny, can you please introduce yourself?
Martinez Tejada. I am a founder of the Corporación Sembrando Paz y Esperanza en las Comunas.
Jenny, can you please tell us what inspired you in forming your association?
Well, my corporation called Sowing Peace and Hope does social work. We, boys, girls, and youth through sports, education, and love. We help them get out of crime and to sow hope in them.
Thank you for sharing your story to us and to children all around the world, also grown-ups. What inspired you to transform your struggle into hope in children?
I was inspired by various life experiences. Many know about them, but for those who don't know, I was born here, in the Comuna 13 in Medellin. I lived in the Comuna 13 all my life, and in consequence, I was touched by all the stories, all the experiences, all the issues, and also the good things that happened there. I was born here, in the Comuna, in the neighborhood called Barrio 20 de Julio, which is one of the poorest areas in Comuna 13. That's where I lived my childhood. My mother died, and in that situation, I lived through abuse, assault, a lot of domestic violence. I lacked for many things. Above all, I think that one of the things I suffered the most was loneliness. Feeling very, very alone, absolutely alone, in a world where I did not fully understand why many things happened. So that made my childhood to have these events which perhaps were the hardest. Later on, I came into youth with a child with a pregnancy that was an escape I found at the time from so many bad things that had happened to me. I always wanted to become a mother. So that was like another beginning in my life, but I didn't know it would become another season like the ones I had already experienced, which had been so hard. My daughter was born. During my pregnancy, I was verbally and physically abused. Later, I had a 14-year-old daughter, and it was very difficult for me to have a 14-year-old girl. I lived in the streets with her. I slept with her in the streets. I wrapped her in a piece of plastic all the time because I didn't have absolutely no clothes for her to wear. I slept in the streets with her for several months, and later I met some people who offered help, and I came back and held on to life. And I started believing again that everything was going to be all right. I was living with my girl at this place, and I started working for these people. They started exploiting me financially. And later, I tried to rescue my girl and go live a different life and start a new life with her. But these people denounced me and took her away from me because I had no money. They took my daughter from me, and I was left alone again. I was pregnant with my daughter Sarah at the time. I already had a partner, and this is something I've told before. We didn't have anything. We lived in a house that was very humble, but to me it was a palace because I had never had a home. I started having a home and I had my daughter, Sarah Camila. I visited my other daughter and saw her from afar. I kept tabs on her. I knew she was okay, but the guerrilla did not allow me to be near her because they said I was too poor, and so I could not give her what these other people provided for her. At the time, they were the law, and whatever they said was the norm. So I stayed away from her for a while, but I got pregnant of Sarah. Sarah was born, and in 2002, one night started what was called Operation Orion. The police, the army, and the community, we suffered too many atrocities. There was even a time when, and I think many people know about this, in which the government decided that Comuna 13 as a whole had to pay for everything that was happening at the time, so they sent helicopters to kill us all without any reservation. And then, in the midst of despair, they did what was called Operation Orion. I had already lived through the Pablo Escobar wars, with deaths in every corner. The CAI was bombed by Pablo Escobar on July 20, here, and this was another war. It wasn't my own war, but my whole community living at war. We woke up to shootings. When we went to bed, the shootings continued. That was an everyday thing. We had no food. However, in October 2002, I was lying down and someone knocked on my door. When I peered, I saw many people from the guerrilla, armed, and one of them ordered me to leave the house along with Sarah's father, with Andres and with the baby because we were going to be relocated. We still did not understand why. We complied. We arrived very afraid, very scared, to Andres's family's house, to his mother's. We saw there were 15 people there, crying, bruised, and that more of those armed people were there. We asked the reason, and they explained that from that moment on, we were all kidnapped because they found that one of Andres's brothers was working with the police in what was called the Operation Orion, and that we should better contact him and tell him to stop, or they would kill us all. All through the night, there were insults, abuse, beatings, and many threats. The young man called the house following day, and one of my brothers-in-law explained the situation. His response was negative. He would not stop. They had already started, and this could not stop. So then, this was in the hands of God. We passed the message on, and they waited for 4 days and saw that nothing had stopped. On the contrary, it was speeding ahead. More police officers were coming, there were more shootings, so they decided to press on and take my 1-year-old child and take one of Andres' sisters, one of the youngest, and take them. At the time, there were screams, rage, crying. I was begging them. I told them not to take Sarah away. We didn't even know why. We gave them many reasons, but the only response was beatings and them taking her away. For 17 days, we were in the dark about it, waiting to know what would happen. They didn't give me any information about my daughter, Sarah. On October 18, Operation Orion came as a whole into the neighborhoods Barrio El Salado and 20 de Julio, and they managed to reach the location where we were being held hostage. And they told me we had to leave the area, that we were going to be killed, and this was our only opportunity to escape. I remember it vividly because I held on to a bed. They were pulling me and telling me that we had to leave, but I said no, that I wasn't going anywhere. That I wanted to stay for my daughter, that I wanted to die or know what would happen, but I wanted to have my daughter Sarah. There were many men which managed to loosen my grip. I was pregnant with my son Diego Andres at the time. In the past few days, I had also become very ill. I was 3 months pregnant, and with the fear, I felt that he was climbing up to my chest all the time. I was always feeling suffocated when I tried to hide from the bullets, because when they saw the situation, they started to shoot at the house, trying to kill us. We had to hide in a small hallway. The police said that I had to come out for my son, and they managed to loosen my grip to the bed. They took me out of the house and put me in a police armored vehicle, and they took me to another neighborhood. There, an ambulance came to get me, and I was taken to the hospital. When I arrived at the hospital, I was in a very bad condition. Malnourished, dehydrated. My pregnancy suffered from several complications. Then, 3 hours later, I received a call telling me that my daughter had been rescued. They had found her in another house with a woman, and they were taking the girl to the hospital to be with me. The news filled me with great joy. At least we had solved one problem and we knew where my daughter was. We didn't know what was going to happen after that, but my child had been found. that was one of the greatest blessings that God has given me. My daughter was given back to me at the hospital, but the doctor informed me that my son Diego was going to die. There was nothing they could do for him, and after all that had happened to me, it was best to have an abortion so we could escape all this situation. I asked them not to do that yet, to give me some time to process it. I felt that this could not be happening to me because it was the thing I had dreamed of, having the family I never had. So I told them that I wanted to have my family under any circumstances available. I asked for some time, and they told me to think about it. Later on, I extended that time through pleading, begging them no, to please not do it yet because I wasn't prepared. Later on, they told me there was an option, that I could have the boy, but it should be very clear that he would be a sickly child and possibly suffer many complications, that he was not going to be a normal child. I said, how did they know that for sure, when God exists and I wanted to have him anyway, that I didn't care about the situation. I was willing to have him whatever the cost, and if he was sick, with help from God, we were going to take care of him however we could. I took that decision that comforts me today, and it makes me so happy to have waited and finally made this choice of having my son, Diego Andres. He was born a perfectly healthy child. Everybody was a blessing to see that he was born so complete. The doctors took him to examine him and reported that he had all his parts, he had no heart problems, and he did not suffer from any serious condition. I was discharged from the hospital, happy with my son, and we arrived at a location where the government took us, in a different neighborhood. There, we starved. We could not work, we had no food. The government took us there and left us abandoned. They said, "We saved your lives, that is enough." So Andres and I realized that we had never lived anywhere else but here, and that we hadn't really looked for this trouble. Also, on the day that Sarah was rescued, Andres' sister was also rescued. They took her to the same hospital where I was. She had been abused and beaten as well multiple times by many men. So all of this that had happened to us, so horrible, had a contrast of the good and the bad, because in all the bad things that had happened to us, we had also received many blessings. Andres and I discussed this many times. They killed his brother. Andres' brother was killed during the time we were living in the government's apartments. He was killed in his house, in his sleep, while in bed. We had to go pick him up, injured, and he died in our arms. Then we made the decision that wherever we were, either there or in any other place, only God could help us. So we returned to the municipality, Comuna, where we knew the people and we had lived, which was the place where we were happy. We decided to return to Comuna 13, and we faced many things. We faced memories and bad things, but we were also strengthened, very hopeful, and we had many good things. So we decided to stay here at the Comuna 13. Then we found our happiness. When I talk about happiness, I mean family. We were in dire straits, financially speaking. However, we had a family and we had a place to stay and food, so we were completely happy. One day, I decided to help a family. I didn't know, in the Comuna, there is a very high part where there were still people of the guerrillas. However, I still believed in people. I still believed that very good people existed. So, a woman in a very difficult situation came, with many children. And because of all the things that had happened to me, I chose to help her. Later on, she took some things from the place where I worked. There was many things missing that she had taken. Nothing happened at the moment until 2007, where an arrest warrant was put on me, where this woman stated that I had driven her out of the neighborhood. Here in Colombia, we have a very important issue. Anybody can present themselves as a displaced person, desplazado, and they give him money. It doesn't matter if it's true or not. They, the Colombian government, provides them with financial support, and so many people use this to their benefit. This woman stated this, that I had displaced her from her home, and I was apprehended immediately and taken to jail. I told the judge that I had done nothing, that the claim was false. However, the judge told me that didn't matter because I was from Comuna 13. that for the sole reason of being from Comuna 13, I had a background with something bad in me. This made me think a lot about the fact that this needed to change. That our past, which wasn't really our past because belonging to other people, and that we were the only victims just by the fact of being born here, but still embedded the bad reputation on all of us from Comuna 13. I realized this could not continue, and I had to do something about this. I finished my studies in jail. I finished high school there, and I planned everything we were going to do there. I was released from jail and I came here, so I founded the corporation with Andres. Corporación Sembrando Paz y Esperanza, corporation sowing peace and hope in the districts, aimed at preventing many children from having to suffer any of the bad things that had happened to me, like getting abused by my very own father and uncle, the people I trusted the most. I recall a period in my childhood in which my aunt would close us in our room while they were dining at the table, and then open it just to throw us the leftovers which they could recover from what they discarded. All of that had made me very strong and made me, well, seeing I had already lived through that, avoid it to happen to others, for children not to feel alone, for children to have another chance. And above all, that for the reason of being from the Comuna 13, that did not mean they were bad people. No. For all of us to hold on to the fact that we are from the Comuna 13 and to progress and show all our talents and strength. Especially all the good people there are here in the Comuna 13. From there, the project was born. Later, I saw that through sports, I could attract many children, and I chose to do it through a soccer school. However, we did not have a sports field, which is something I always say it is one of our rights. However, it has been abused here. We did not have a field, a simple sports field. Anybody would say, well, that's just a field, but it's everything to us, having a soccer field. We trained on the street with the children. Cars would go by, people, we couldn't do it. So we saw that the only available place was a garbage dump site, right here. So we decided to go to that garbage dump site, clean it up. The children played soccer, and when they finished, I washed them with water before they returned to their homes. For many years, we operated like that, cleaning up. Our soccer field is a very beautiful spot on a high place where you can see all Medellin. However, we lost a lot of soccer balls and we didn't have money to buy them. So we started filling bags with dirt. Children helped with shovels and we managed to build a wall with dirt bags. Later on, I met a young man from here, from Bogota, Colombia, and he became very interested. I told him all about my story, I showed him, and he became very interested and he said he would come back. He left, and 3 months later he returned with a young woman from Italy, Roberta. Roberta asked me what I was thinking and what did I want, after seeing all that was going on. I told her I wanted a chance, not for me, but for the children. That every day I came and told them that someday, they would have what they deserve. And that I wanted to prove to them that through work, through discipline, with respect, we could achieve everything. She left and then she called me and told me that a young man from Italy was coming, but he did not live in the city or in the town, but here, in the Comuna 13. I told her that he would come to my home, and here we would show him the reality of the Comuna 13. Simone, the name of the young man, stayed with us. He lived with our family, and we became just that, family. Simone left at the end of his first visit, but he told me he would come back to help me build a real soccer field. So yes, he left and then returned in the Comuna 13, and through his help and the help of many people, because all of this was possible through the solidarity of people from other countries and from Colombia, we built a sports field and proved the children that it is possible, that it can be done. When we finally did that, they were excited and seeing all we had achieved and would trust. I always say that we owe this field to the people, that this was a gift given to us through trust and honesty. People can see that the resources they gave were used to build the field, and then they decided to give us a study room. That study room is the most wonderful thing. And we built it for the children to come study and prepare themselves. During the pandemic, it became our place to feed 170 children who had absolutely no food. Because yes, the pandemic has brought very difficult situations, but the Comuna has always suffered the pandemic of hunger. Always. It has always been here, and with the pandemic, it became even more visible. It was visible for everyone to see. Everyone felt it. So we decided to create what we called El Fogón, the hub. El Fogón de la Esperanza, the hub of hope, where we fed them at least one meal so they would not go to bed unfed. Thanks to people's help, we are able to give education and food since all help is very important. I always say that, not only financial help. What you are doing today with Just Kids Health is super important for us. People who travel and choose to make it a part of their journey to come be with them, meet them, share knowledge with them, like the English classes or Italian. This has been wonderful for the children. They receive all this type of help with a lot of love and pleasure. We have also seen how, all through the years, it was really possible to achieve what we wanted. I have children who started with me when they were 7 years old. They are already 17, 18 years old. They are upstanding men. They are men who still come here to the program. They are people with other projects. They know how to plan their lives. They know that being a part of the Comuna is not a synonym of being a member of an armed group. No. I am from the Comuna, but I can also become a president, a lawyer, a soccer player, a good homemaker, a good cobbler. So that's it. Through sports, we started hooking, but we found out that being there, giving them love, was able to transform many, many lives. Also, most of the children who come here are sons of single mothers, of women who are heads of their households, or some don't even have a mom or dad. Many children don't have any relatives, but we become the family for everyone. It's what I told you at the beginning. It's taking in all of the bad, all of it, and turning it into strength, into becoming hope, into telling them when they come sit and talk to me about a problem they have, to feel the confidence and telling them, I know that, I've lived that, and saying, no, it's nothing. Let's move forward. Don't you worry. There are some very sad stories. Some girls have been abused. That is something that moves me deeply when they come with that problem of having been abused. That is terrible for me because I lived that. I know how it feels. However, they end up transforming their lives and they are filled with that strength. Above all, we are turning all of that bad stuff into good things. When we say, no, in another country, there are people who love you very much. We created a program called Apadrina un Niño de la Comuna 13, sponsor a child from Comuna 13. With that money, we can make the children, many of them, to participate in all programs. And with that, we can take care of them if they need shoes, medication, clothing, a meal. So this is a wonderful place. I invite you to come to Colombia and visit that place. I know you will receive a lot, spiritually. You will leave this place with great joy. Yes. Now, after so much time we've been here, working, when I was a girl, I never had a doll, but I always wanted to have a doll. I never held a doll in my arms. Then I got a doll of flesh and blood. Later, I faced so many things, and I don't have a mother. I don't have a father. I have a father who was an abuser, and then he abandoned us. Now, I can tell you this with certainty. With certainty. I am thankful of everything that happened to me. All of the bad things, because I am a very happy woman. I have no material things. You can come visit us, you can come know my house. It's a normal house, with many needs. However, I am a very happy woman. I feel that everything that happened to me had to happen. It had to. That is the sense for what is now. It had to happen. All that. Well, Yenni suffered. That is one. But we are making 300 children happy. So this was the outcome. I suffered and I lived through many things. However, now we are all happy. And every day there are many needs in the corporation. This is a non-profit corporation. This corporation receives no government aid. However, we are very happy. with the children. Conversations here are about soccer, about languages. They're not about money. We never talk about money or about the most expensive shoes for them. We glue their shoes to fix them. I have wonderful stories. I receive anything people are willing to give us. Bad, good, new, old, everything is useful. I keep everything in many boxes. I keep everything. Then I see the needs, and we give from that. And we give old and new things. For them, everything is very important. A story I have that made me feel so good is that one of the children came and his shoes broke. He called me. He's 5 years old, and he called me and said, "Profe," teacher. He was eating. "Profe, my shoes are broken." So I measured his foot with a finger to see its measurements, and I went to rummage through my boxes. I found a pair of chanclas, flip-flops, sandals. Here we don't call chanclas the shoes, but something more open. So I found a pair and put them on him. They were used. He was happy, he tried them on, and another of the boys told him, "Do they fit?" What had I told him? That the profe would give him shoes. So it's like they really feel that here they are safe, that they can have what we can give them. There are no luxuries, there are no expensive things. However, we can manage and give happiness with what little we have. I say it's little in the financial sense, but we are millionaires in love, in strength. We are millionaires with all the feelings we have for them. One of the very sad stories we have is when the children. There is now a boy who is 11 years old. His 7-year-old brother was killed. In her pain, his mother decided she did not want to have him and abandoned him. He was completely alone, but he came here because I say it is not a coincidence. I say it is God who decided that he had to be here. Here, he started changing his behavior of silence, of crying, and he started telling me all his suffering. So the both of us started exchanging stories and laughing together about the bad things that happened to us. And now he is a child of the Sembradores family. He considers me his mom. I'm not only the profe, teacher, but also the mom, the teacher, the aunt, the friend, the parcero, buddy, friend. I'm everything they have. Finally, he is now a child with a family. And I know that in him, we have rescued a man for good. We know he will not be a lonely man who believes that the only way is drug addiction or armed groups. No, there are other options for the children of Comuna 13. Yes, first of all, to congratulate you all for being interested in our story. In a place so far away from you that it might very well be just another story for you, and that will be all. God bless you for putting your eyes and your hearts on us, just to congratulate you. I don't blame or think anything about other people being in a better situation than us. No, they had to work. There's life, luck. What do I know? They are rich. It's just a season in life. They were born, they worked. However, that's their life, and it's respectable that they're rich. This is just to invite them to have something more than economic fortune, to value, to put value into everything. To our family, that is the only thing. I can say that, and I didn't have one. It's the only rich thing. It's the only valuable thing. The only important thing in our lives. The only meaning is family, children, love, friendships, taking care of all of that. Those are the greatest riches we can get to keep, value, appreciate. To the children who are listening to us or watching us today, I would say that for different things of life, some people have things, some people have little, others, we have nothing. I would tell them to go on, to keep on moving forward. They have to care for what they have, to value it, bless it. They should feel blessed. Not that I have, I study, I have things. No, let's move forward. If I have something, I can build a career in which I am in a position to help, to feel that I serve, to find a meaning to life. That is the most important thing, to find meaning in life. For those who think they have not, they do have. They have hope. They have a family. They have. If they're alone, it doesn't matter. There is a God. There is a God who listens to us and who gives us results. Surely there will be suffering to come and many things will happen. However, God will give us results, will give us peace. He will make us meet wonderful people. I feel very fortunate to now have met you, to have met Simone, Lucas. As I told you, I am a very happy woman with the friendships that God has blessed me with. God bless you. I hope to continue speaking with you, with the visits to come visit us. Also, that my story is not a story of sadness. No, on the contrary, I want you to take it for yourselves, to feed from it, and to keep moving forward.
Thank you, Jenny, for everything you are doing in making this world a better place for children and giving hope to the world.
We know there are a lot of people watching, and a lot of people watching will be touched by your true, incredible story. If anyone wants to help, we place the link below.
Please open your heart and help us to help Jenny in her beautiful cause.
Let's make their Christmas special too, so they can get a warm plate of food and celebrate the Christmas season.